Hello, and welcome. I don't know where that's coming from. Okay. Hello, and welcome to Ladies Corner with. Is that correctly? So I'm going to have to start that again. Hello, and welcome to Ladies Corner with Tea. The show is not jinx. We're able to deal with that effectively. Happy New Year to everyone, especially those joining us for the very first time. Thank you so very much for joining us. My name is Tia DM and I create content for ladiescorner.ca. Nathan is an inclusive education advocate and he brings over 15 years of leadership experience in community development and the social profits sector, where he has led various provincial and national initiatives in areas of mental health, youth engagement, and social equity. He is, of course, the Alberta NDP candidate for Edmonton Southwest, and he joins us now to talk about politics and the challenges, of taking down the incumbent. Let's welcome Nathan. Hi, Nathan. Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Hello, T. Thank you so much for having me. Great to see you. Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year, Nathan. Happy New Year to you. And thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate your time.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure. I remember having some conversations with you previously, and I said to you, when I win the nomination, I would love to be on your show, and we have finally made it happen. So
This
it's
is a
all
promise well kept,
yeah,
Nathan. Touch wood,
yeah,
is going to be a good year. You're keeping your promises.
yes. It's my honor.
So, behind all the fluff, I remember I attended um, your announcement ceremony. You had a big event somewhere, and some people thought you were a celebrity. Some people saw you as this and that. Beyond all the fluff, who exactly is this man smiling at me tonight? Who are you, Nathan? Tell us a bit more about you all.
Well, T, you are incredibly gracious with your introduction. I don't think anybody sees me as a celebrity, not even my mom, but I'll take it. I'll take it. You know, Community is really important to me. For those of you who don't know me, I am a school board trustee, a current school board trustee with Edmonton Public Schools, and have had the honor of being elected 3 times to this role, and it is a privilege every day to be able to serve families and children at Edmonton Public Schools as well as my community. And so I think at the heart of everything that I do, um, being a community advocate and a community builder is core to who I am, and it is the way that I that motivates everything that I do.
I mean, you've spoken more like a politician, community advocate, public service. Those are buzzwords. But for those who don't know, why is community building important to you? You spent what 15 years doing this.
Yes. Yes. Well, you know what? It isn't just a buzzword for me. In fact, my record in service and my passion for being involved in the community uh, really spans many decades. From the time I was a teenager, I have been involved in various causes. And you know how they often say that sometimes things come full circle. For me, it certainly came full circle now being the NDP candidate. My very first foray into politics was in fact as a young teenager, volunteering on my social studies on the campaign of my social studies teacher who was running as a candidate at the time, and he was running for the NDP. And at that time, for me, it wasn't so much about partisanship. It was about learning. It was about finding a way to give back. And since then, I have been involved in a variety of different issues, from youth homelessness to mental health to advocating for uh, children and families with children who are neurodivergent, to now working in innovation. It really has been the same through line across my life is how can I serve my community, because I feel deeply passionate about Edmonton and Alberta, and I think we all have a role to play in contributing to it.
Not foreign to your world is, well, are two words: winning, losing. So what happens if you do win, and where do you go if this doesn't work out, Nathan?
You're right. Elections are often about who winning and losing, but for me, it's much more than that. I think this process is an opportunity for a conversation with constituents of Edmonton Southwest, with Albertans, about the kind of future they want to see for their province and the kind of future that they want to build together. And I think it's, in fact, a critical time in our province right now. We have two very divergent visions being offered in front of them. And one of the reasons I've decided that this is the right time for me is because I want to build a hopeful, optimistic vision for the province. And I think we are at a critical time.
Thank you, Nathan, for that. It takes me to, I like to consider what the future of the province would look like under your guidance and leadership. But before then, why Edmonton Southwest? Can you talk us or tell us the behind the scenes story of how you chose Edmonton Southwest, or did they choose you?
Well, I would say that this is Edmonton Southwest makes sense and made sense for me at the time when I was contemplating whether I should put my name in the ring. It is an area that I have lived in for a very, very long time. I currently represent, I would say, a majority of the riding as a school board trustee, so I understand the issues inside and out. I have been advocating for schools for over a decade in this area. I have collaborated with all orders of government. And, one of the biggest motivating factors for me to run this time around was not only was I not seeing the traction, particularly around issues of growth when it comes to building new schools, in our area, but I was seeing the erosion and dismantling of public education and education in general. And so I was very concerned about the direction that things were going in education. And if you sort of add to that the growth that we're experiencing, I felt that we needed a different direction, and I wasn't gaining traction by working with our current MLA. I felt we needed a different direction altogether. So I decided I was going to put myself out there because I understand this area, and I hope I'll have the opportunity to serve constituents here.
Well, I'm sincerely hoping that it saddens me that you just said you tried to work with the current MLA and you were not gaining any traction, and that is, I think, very sad. And I'm just wondering if it's not just all politics when we say, okay, before you elect me, I'm going to give you the heavens and the earth. I'm going to give you mansions and millions. And then you get in and oops, nothing happens. And I know lots of people are discerning about politics today, and I'm wondering what you would do differently. Is it going to be business as usual? We've heard the same promise time and time again. I'll fix homelessness, I'll fix this, I would, and nothing eventually happens. So how do we know that you are that candidate indeed for our future?
I think if you look at my track record as a school board trustee, I have been a very consistent, persistent advocate for things that I care about and the community cares about. So whether it's building more schools in Edmonton Southwest, or working with other orders of government to build a community center that's attached to our new high school here in the Southwest. I'm proud to have spearheaded many of those conversations and those initiatives, and I have a track record of really working across all partisan stripes. And so this for me isn't about politics. It's sort of easy to say, well, it's convenient for you to say what you're saying, but I have a track record of service, and I intend to bring that commitment, that willingness to listen and to work with constituents and stakeholders so that we can build a more optimistic future. At the end of the day, I really believe that you're only one voice. Even if you're the MLA, you're only one voice. You have to leverage the strength of community, working with different groups, with different people, listening to people, making sure that you have diversity of opinion, and that's the MLA that I intend to be. Should I have the opportunity to serve? I want to walk alongside my community, and let's do this together.
Okay, we'll be here to hold you accountable. Don't worry about that. So I want us to talk about when you go door knocking. A couple of days ago, you posted the tweet. So you tweeted, "This is our first, go canvassing, whatever." When you go knocking, what do people tell you? What are the top three things you hear when you go door knocking?
What I'm hearing at the door is there are many constituents and residents who are concerned about affordability, the rising costs of gas prices or grocery prices, electricity. They're concerned about inflation and whether they can put food on the table for some of the families. They're also concerned about education. Edmonton Southwest is a growing community, lots of young families. I think the median age is somewhere around 34, 35. Lots and lots of demand for schools because there's lots of school age children, and so they're worried about education. They're worried about, does the curriculum that's proposed by this government prepare our kids for the future? And lots of teachers, lots of educators and education professionals have expressed concerns about this curriculum, that it doesn't in fact set our kids up for success. I'm also hearing concerns about healthcare, about the fact that our healthcare system in some cases is in shambles. There isn't enough capacity. Wait times for ambulances are astronomical, and that there isn't a hospital nearby. In some cases, depending on where you are in the Southwest, the responding ambulance could be coming from Leduc, or the ambulance could be taking you to a hospital in Leduc. And frankly, for one of the fastest growing parts of the city, to not have the provincial government build the South Hospital, I think is really unacceptable. It's not acceptable. We need to make sure that healthcare and education are supported, and we need to make sure that we're delivering core services for our public.
I'm just wondering, Nathan, if you've ever reflected along these lines, is there any set of strengths that you particularly are offering that Mr. Madu is not showing right now?
Yeah, for me, it's not about MLA Madu. I think my record speaks for itself, in the sense that I have always demonstrated a willingness to collaborate, a willingness to listen, a willingness to find solutions, and often creative solutions. And I've demonstrated that with different projects I've spearheaded, whether it's the community center at Dr. Ann Anderson High School, or ensuring that we have more supports for mental health in schools. I will work with all elected officials to do what I think is best for constituents and for community. And so I think my track record speaks for itself, and I will continue to bring that kind of collaboration, that spirit of collaboration to this role as well.
You called it the diversity of community. Beautiful choice of words, Nathan. Some sounds like poetry to that. I'm just wondering, it feels like it's a mess now. Some of us are like commoners, we understand the brunt of the brokenness in our society, and itemized this when you were mentioning the affordability crisis, inflated insurance costs, grocery prices on the increased education, increased wait times, and so on and so forth. It feels like it's a mess, honestly. And the question is, how do you begin to tackle this mess? What would your top priorities? Because surely in a 4-year term, should you win, you let's face it, realistically, you are not gonna do justice to all of these items. It may sound like good talking points now, but I reckon in 4 years' time we'll still have God, I don't even know what I like to see again. I'm just hoping, whoever comes in, I don't know. What would you be the question is, what would you be able to handle first? Mhm.
Well, let me just say that I'm part of a fantastic team, and I'm very proud to run under the leadership of Rachel Notley. She presents a pragmatic, hopeful, optimistic, bold future for our province with plans that I think will work. What the Alberta NDP has done in the past close to 2 years is they have consulted with the public as well as industry professionals and stakeholders on a number of different proposals. And I would encourage your viewers to check out albertasfuture.ca, and it lists dozens and dozens of proposals of what the NDP will do when we get into government, how we're going to solve many of these challenges that you talk about. You're right. It is a challenging time for many Albertans, and I think what we've seen in the past 3 years is a lack of leadership. We have seen this government often not taking principled or evidence-based approaches to some of the most challenging issues that we're seeing, whether it's the way that they've handled the pandemic or whether it's what they're doing to education and healthcare. It is a very, very different vision than what the Alberta NDP is offering. And so I think what we can do certainly is if the Alberta NDP forms government, and I'm certainly will work very hard along with the team to support Rachel Notley to form government. I know that we're going to prioritize things that matter to Albertans, and I think you will see a difference when we form government.
I think we will see a difference was the last thing you said there. Thank you, Nathan. I wanted to reflect on it was an issue I raised with Ms. Notley the last time. And when I look at your party, Alberta NDP, I find there's a lack of diversity. I'm an African woman with an albeit Nigerian accent. And I'm just wondering how diverse your caucus is. How diverse your party is, and how willing will your party listen to minority voices like BIPOC women, disabled women, indigenous women? Because the problem, I think, with Alberta NDP is this ongoing lack of diverse representation. And sometimes I dare feel like people like us, no one wants to hear what you're saying. And if what you're saying is true, how is your party tackling diversity right now, the diversity crisis?
Well, let me just sort of speak to my experience so far with the Alberta NDP, and I disagree that there is a diversity crisis as you've mentioned. We have, I would say, if you look at the candidates who are running for us, a very diverse slate of candidates, not only from a ethnocultural perspective, but also from different walks of life. We have doctors, we have paramedics, we have teachers, we have business owners, we have ranchers, we have literally every folks who are very accomplished in their own right running for us. who I think are such incredible people, first of all, but they will be assets to any government. And as far as are we diverse enough, I think that is. I think we can never be diverse enough. I think it is always something that any political party should strive to do, is to be more inclusive, to be more welcoming, to ensure that more voices are heard from all facets. And I think my experience, certainly with the Alberta NDP, is that they have done a very good job of that. That they have tried to include as many different voices. It's a party that's open to everybody. It's one of the reasons I decided to join and run for the NDP is because I felt for me, diversity is very important. And
what are you doing to get more diverse people to vote for you in particular? Do you think if you have a diverse majority, you're going to topple this thing? You're going to win this thing? What's your path to victory, Nathan?
Well, first of all, I think that it's important for any candidate, and for me, it's incredibly important that I speak to my constituents, and I speak to constituents from all backgrounds, all walks of life, and it isn't really about courting particular demographics. It's about how do I create space where we can have good, meaningful, authentic dialogue. Because as I've said to you, when we first started this, I want to see I want to see us build a hopeful province for everybody that's inclusive. And what we're seeing with this current government is that it's very much a zero-sum game. You're either with us or you're against us. You're either part of our tribe or you're not. There's winners and losers, and I just think that we can do better than that. I think we can do better than that. So for me, my approach is I'm going to work hard every day to listen. I'm going to speak to as many people as I can, regardless of which walks of life or they might be from or what their background might be. And I think you have a good point. T is am I doing enough as a candidate to reach out to certain diverse communities? And I have, certainly, and I will continue to do so. I want to hear from everybody.
Thank you, Nathan. I want you to discuss with us, because I know mental health is important. What are you doing to prevent a burnout before May?
Gee, that's such a thoughtful question. You know what? It's a journey for me as well. I won't lie. I have a very busy schedule. I'm juggling a full-time job plus my other full-time job as a school board trustee, and certainly running as a candidate. But I feel very lucky. I feel very lucky. I have a really good team around me that supports me, and I have the privilege of doing what I love, of being able to serve my community, and I consider it a privilege. It's not something that everybody gets to do, and I get to do all of the things that I love all at the same time. So sometimes it does get quite busy, but it is a privilege, and I have a great team around me supporting me.
Okay, it's something you need to think about. This is the last hurdle now, so we need you to look after yourself. In a nutshell, what are your goals for 2023? Other than winning this election, that is, do you have any goals you like to share with our audience for the new year?
Yeah, I'll talk about maybe some of my goals that I'd like to see if I'm elected as an MLA. I have been advocating and fighting very hard to ensure that there will be schools in Edmonton Southwest, and that's a goal, is to get those schools funded and built. And so I will continue to advocate for that, win or lose, and certainly in an NDP government. I'm very pleased that Rachel Notley and the Alberta NDP, we have committed to building a school in Edgemont. So that is going to happen when we form government. But that's a goal for me this year is to fight for those schools because we desperately need them. The other goal for me is I think there is a kind of cynicism around politics right now. That we're very polarized sometimes as a society when it comes to politics, and I really hope that people can that I can change that narrative, that I can be part of helping people see that there is value in not only public service but in elected office, that your elected representative is here to listen and to serve you. So that's my other goal, is to start building some bridges and getting folks involved in our community.
We all need to strive for dreams that are bigger than us. I wish you all the best there.
Yes.
I'm sure you do well convincing people that there's hope in politics after all. I've got a final question. Your bedtime table, I imagine you've got policy reports, you've got work stuff, and what are some reading books you've got for 2023 you'd like to share with us? Are you reading to read at all, Nathan?
Yes, I'm gonna share a book that I read, that I haven't finished it yet, but I find it incredibly enlightening, and it's called, I'm gonna look it up so I get the right title. It's 21 Things You May Not Know About the Indian Act, Helping Canadians Make Reconciliation with Indigenous Peoples a Reality.
Does that help you sleep at night?
By Bob Joseph.
You read that? Do you read recreationally at all? Maybe leisurely?
I find it really, I find it
maybe some horror or comedy, even some
I find it really interesting, to learn about our history with respect to our the relationship to Indigenous people and reconciliation. And I have to say, unfortunately, it's an area that I want to learn more about, or not unfortunately. Unfortunately, I feel like I don't know enough. I don't know what I should. And so I'm a student certainly in this area, and I have learned a lot, and it has helped me reflect upon sort of my own ideas and understanding of reconciliation. So I recommend that book to everybody, to anybody.
You've spoken like a true politician. True and true, you are Nathan. You're the Alberta NDP candidate for Edmonton Southwest. Thank you so much for being a good sport, a great sport actually, for taking our questions and for spending some time with us tonight.
Thank you, T, for having me. It's always great to chat with you and to see you.
Absolutely, Nathan. Good night.
Good night.